My name is Pascal Hachem. I'm Lebanese. I'm based in Beirut. My practice is related to a lot of happenings that I collect in my everyday life and experience in Beirut. I use a lot of ready-made pieces that I turn them into new life. Basically, the title of the show has a title that I don't recall anymore. It's kind of gesture of how we tend to forget and how we don't remember everything. It deals a little bit with the memory. So what I'm trying to trace with this show is mainly about traces and how it's a man-made gesture that we keep on erasing them and replacing them with new materials, new traces that somehow we lose track. And it's a way also to connect to my experience in Beirut, because whatever I do is in relation to my life in Beirut and my experience with my own city, and it follows the specific moment. I mentioned before, like the city and my experience being in Beirut and producing in Beirut. So this is by default, I have it. Maybe I can mention like golden Mata Clark, and yeah, all the Quran that carries the ready-made pieces as a starting point. I use a lot of ready-made objects in my work. Maybe the bread is like ready-made, but it's not only a ready-made, it carries our own identity and somehow a specific language that I'm embracing. I'm trying to play around it in order to turn or to convey different possibilities and to create a story out of it. The flower is similar in a way that is like once it's introduced within a work, it can change identity and it can speak about food and culture and people. Humor is like part of what I do, even though it looks very neat and very well precise, but there is always like a small range of humor in the work. Humor is a sarcastic gesture as well, and I have this tendency to play on it too, because it's like I'm talking about sometimes a heavy material, and this heavy material sometimes it can sound very negative, and but there is like always like a hope gesture in whatever I do, so that being sarcastic or humor can have this kind of different possibility to each work, and sometimes the being humor is also to make fun of my own work. So because I want to take it very serious, but sometimes it's too much to be serious. So I try to create a contradiction with my own being. In the most pieces, you can feel that, and even in the previous work, that all the work is very slow. So momentum is very important, and this carries a lot of tension and pressure, because I give a lot of importance to the time. Carrying also a sound is part of the work in itself. So being slow and with a very repetitive sound, it creates and it adds another layer of tension that I like always to keep in the work. Sometimes it's like not that noticeable, so you have really to pay attention, but it's like reminder also of this kind of presence somehow. For instance, let's say if we talk about the brushes, you don't associate this movement with the type of sound, which is somehow interesting because you can feel it as a very soft, like almost like water dropping, but somehow it's like friction. So it's creating somehow friction between the brushes in itself and the wall, which is somehow an aggressive gesture, but the sound is trying to soften this kind of relationship with somehow new to the work and give new possibilities as well.